This past week we had one of our study groups. We're studying the Bhagavad Gita, and one of the women shared, actually Satyana shared, she said I could use her name, Satyana shared an experience that she'd had, which again, very, very useful to take forward. She had an old friend in her life that she felt was going in the wrong direction and needed some help. And so she wrote a very, very thoughtful letter. She put a lot of energy into being very clear and uplifting and all these wonderful things, and actually showed it to other people, and they agreed it was a wonderful letter. Well, she sent it to her friend, and it wasn't a wonderful letter. They exploded. They were furious. They didn't want to hear from her ever again. Well, so that was something important to learn from. So she thought, okay, a lot of months went by, and she just wasn't happy about the situation. And so she thought, okay, I have to do this again, but I have to do this totally differently. This time, I'm praying to Master, to Yogananda, and I'm saying, you must write this through me. I'm going to sit at the computer. I will not write anything unless I feel you are writing it through me. And she did that, and she sent the letter, and she really didn't know what to expect. But the letter that came back, the email that came back rather quickly, had little hearts all over it, and just filled with love. And just sort of the old kind of jokes that they used to tell among each other, and just saying, you know, I'm not a teacher, but if I were a teacher, I would have given you an A+ on that email. Well, she was touched, and especially so because she felt I didn't do it. So this, when we're thinking about how do we live in this world, no matter what's happening to us, we really have to ask the Guru to do it through us, to flow through us, to be the love that we need. Corrie ten Boom tells a story that's very interesting. I think you all know her name. She wrote the book The Hiding Place, and she and her sister were put in a Nazi concentration camp, and her sister, her beloved sister, died there. And it was a horrible, I won't say it's a horrible experience because they were deeply devoted to Christ, and so it had many blessings, but the energy coming at them was totally horrible. And she, after she survived the experience, she went traveling around the world and giving talks about the power of Christ and the power of forgiveness and that God forgives everyone. And she was giving this talk, and at the back of the room was one of the prison guards, one of the first one she'd ever seen, and it brought back everything, and she was horrified. And here she was talking about forgiveness, and oh my God, there he was. And at the end of the speech, he came forward, and he said, oh, thank you, Sister Corrie, thank you so much. I feel so grateful to know that God has forgiven me for all my errors. I'm so grateful for that, and will you forgive me also? Well, she actually didn't think she could. Here she was, a Christian, totally devoted to Christ, and it was just more than she thought she could do. And so she was trying to say something that she could say, and all she could do was pray to Jesus and say, I cannot forgive him, but can you forgive him through me? And so she with a little bit of fear, reached out her hand to this man. And she said, as she did so, she felt this love pouring through her hand. And she realized, I couldn't do it, but God could do it through me. And so that's the message of this reading, that our little self really can't get past these barriers, but our great self can.